Welcome back to Cooking with Daniela, episode 5, first one of 2020. Sola. How are your New Year's resolutions going? Yeah, me neither. So, let's not be depressed if they already didn't work out. Instead, let's make these wannabe sopes, stuff your face, and wipe away them tears because we know that food makes everything better. So for this video, we're making sopes. These are not your regular schmegular sopes. These are faster and juicier. So let's break down the ingredients. For the base of your sope, you're going to use these smaller yellow corn tortillas. They tend to be tastier than the paler, whiter version of tortillas. You can use a bigger size of tortillas. It's up to you what size you want these sopes, but just for presentation and to keep it close to resembling a sope, I chose these smaller ones. As far as how many you're going to serve, that depends on summoning your inner fat girl and knowing whether your family's gonna want 3 or 5 each. It's up to you. Either way, it's really simple. They're already pre-made. All you have to do is fry them. To a hot pot of water, go ahead and add your beef shanks right into it. Oh, you killing this. Now for the simplest part, you're gonna go ahead and add your spices to the pot. So we go ahead and start with our bay leaves, and then next we go ahead and add our peeled garlic, our black pepper, whole black peppercorns, and you add your pieces of onion to this. Now the very important part, we're going to go ahead and cover this, and this is going to go ahead and cook for roughly 2 hours. You're going to be constantly checking it just to see how tender the meat is. The meat has been cooking for about 1.5 hours with the lid on. I went ahead and removed the lid, and I'm starting to take out all the spices that I put into this just because we're going to use the broth later on, and I don't want anybody to bite into any of this stuff that's floating. You can also take a strainer, take out the meat, and then strain out all the ingredients, which is what I did. I didn't show the clip. I felt like it was unnecessary. And then we go ahead and have a clean broth, just the meat and nothing else. In another pot, I grabbed some of the broth where the meat was cooking, and I'm going to add our chile guajillo and our chiles California. They have been deveined and the seeds have been taken out. I'm gonna go ahead and boil them in this broth. The reason why I'm choosing to use the same broth is because I don't want to add any more water to the meat and risk it being not as flavorful. So this, you cut back in having to water down your broth. Here we have all our chiles. They have been boiling for about 10 to 15 minutes. I go ahead and turn off the flame and then just leave them covered so that they can keep getting softer. After you turned off your chiles, make sure they are cooled off for about 10 to 15 minutes before you put it in your blender. Go ahead and throw your chiles into the blender with the same broth that you cooked them in. And you're going to blend these on high. Let them go for as long as you can, just to break down the chile, make it nice and smooth. And then we're going to place this back into our broth. Ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for this public service announcement. Please don't be lazy and strain your chile. Don't be those people, like those ladies that are like, es que mi licuadora es bien buena y muele bien bonito el chile. FYI, it doesn't. You'll have random pieces of chili flakes in your broth. So please take the extra time to strain it out if you don't want people walking around with pieces of chile stuck to their teeth. Okay? Thank you. Now that you've added your chile, go ahead and add your chicken powder. I use Nor Suiza. And then you're adding the ground black pepper. This is going to make the difference in the taste. Your broth is supposed to be a little bit spicy from the chiles, and the black pepper is supposed to add that extra kick. So I added maybe like 2 full tablespoons of black pepper. You could add more, you could add less, tweak it to your liking. And then give it a stir and make sure you try it, because if it needs more salt, this is the time to add that extra salt. You could add more chicken powder, or you could add just regular salt. Now, once you're happy with the taste, you're gonna go ahead and cover this and let this go for another half an hour. At this point, I added some Himalayan pink salt. You don't have to add that crazy fancy salt. Add whatever salt you have, but I realized that mine needed a little bit more salt, so I added it. Now cover it up and let it go for another half an hour. And then while this is cooking, you're gonna move on to the next step. In a hot pan, go ahead and add your cooking oil and add your miniature tortillas. I added 3 at a time, and you're going to make sure to crisp them on both sides. Now what you're trying to do here is you want them to get kind of hard, because when you go ahead and plate them, add all the ingredients on the top, you're going to be adding broth to these sopes. So you want to make sure that your tortilla can stand up to the broth and not break down and just turn into a huge mess on the plate. So I didn't record how long it takes, but it's usually like a minute up to a minute and a half for each tortilla on both sides, just to get it a little bit of crunch. Our sopes are looking naked right now. Let's go ahead and dress her up. Take some of that meat that you cooked up. It should be really tender now. Shred it up and place it on top of your sopes. Add that chopped onion, put your queso cotija, and now add your broth. Add as much broth as you'd like, as little broth as you like. Hell, if you want some broth on the side to be sipping on it while you're eating these, go ahead. Put your thinly sliced cabbage, more cheese, and your tapatio sauce. And these are ready to be eaten. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how your sopes turn out, and I hope to see you on the next episode.